Good afternoon. The last time when we were graphing lines, we said that the equation of a line has no exponents in it. If you can write the equation in the form ax plus by equals c, then that's a line. No, there's no exponent on the x or y. If there's both x and y, if there's two variables in the equation, then that's a slanted line. If there's only one variable in the equation, then you have either a horizontal or a vertical line. It's either horizontal or vertical. A horizontal line is in the form y equals some number. So if you have an equation with only a y and no x, that's a horizontal line. A vertical line is in the form x equals a number. If you're going to graph a line in the form y equals a number, then this variable here is the axis it passes through. It passes through the y-axis at this number. X equals a number, passes through the x-axis at this number. I believe also y'all discussed X-Intercepts and Y-Intercepts. The X-Intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. Where the graph crosses, or intersects, I should have said intersects, the x-axis. And before we go on, what did I just do? Before we go on, I made an observation. If a point is on the x-axis, what do we know about the y-coordinate? If a point is going to stay on the x-axis, can it move up or down? No. You're right. It's got to be in the form of number, comma, 0. What I've said was that the y value is equal to 0. For the x-intercept, the y value is equal to 0. And for the y-intercept, we said that the x value had to be 0. All of this we'll see in a moment when we do right here. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. That ordered pair is in the form 0, comma, n, wherever it's crossing the y-axis. Now, let's look at number 1. I think number 1 is one of those problems you can do without writing anything down. Let's see. It says, look at this graph, find the coordinates of the y-intercept and the x-intercept. Hold on, I'm going to pop this graph out. There, that makes it a little bigger. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like they're incrementing in units of 1. The y-intercept, where the graph passes through the y-axis, it's right there. What are those coordinates? I think I heard it. Okay, the x value is 0. If a point is on the y-axis, the only way it can be on the y-axis, you can't move left or right. So for the y-intercept, the x value has to be 0, and in this case, the y value is 2. What about the x-intercept?
It's 5, 0.
Notice you don't want to move off of the x-axis. So you move those 5 units to the right, but you can't go up or down. If a point is on the x-axis, the y value is 0. Historically, it used to be that X-intercept and Y-intercept was defined to be a number, not an ordered pair. In the 80s, it was a number. If it had asked, what's the Y-intercept, you would have answered 2, not 0, 2. What's the x-intercept? You would have answered 5. That's in the old math books. But then by 1990, I remember the first time I saw that. What the heck? The textbooks and publishers decided that students would understand it better as an ordered pair.
I don't know if I agreed with that.
I didn't agree with that, but still.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's see. Oh, look at this. Problem number 2. It says, find the intercepts and graph the line. X minus 3y equals 3. Okay. Well, with intercepts, the y value and the x value is 0. So when I'm told to find the intercepts, I usually make a table. I think that's how we did number 1 in the homework assignment the last time. Do y'all remember that? They had the little table. They put a 0 for x and then a 0 for y. Y'all remember doing that? Let's see. Yeah. Let's plug a 0 in for x and figure out y. If I put a 0 in for x, I have 0. So just a negative 3y equals 3.
Negative 3, so it's y equals negative 1.
Divide by negative 3 to get y equals negative 1. So 0, negative 1.
No,
go to y equals 0. It's easier because it's x minus 3 times 0 equals 3. So 3 times 0 is 0, so it's x equals 3.
Okay, what's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob, did y'all hear what he said? He said he made a correct observation. This one is easier because 3 times 0 is 0. X minus 0, we already have the x variable by itself to give us just x equals 3. Any questions there?
So I decided to assign problems that didn't involve the little graphing tools. Y'all had done those already. And just for the historic sake, I like to see some of those. Okay. Probably at this point, even without me graphing, you could choose the answer just by knowing the intercepts. Over 0, down 1. There's the y-intercept. Right 3, up 0. There's the x-intercept. Connect the dots and
That sprinkle was perfectly fine.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It happens. I'll just try to remember to turn it off. Okay, so remember the answers. 0, negative 1, 3, 0, and what the graph looks like. Let's look at the A, B, C, D.
I think it's A.
Is it A?
Yeah.
Pop it out right there.
Okay.
Is that it? Oh, wait, look at how they've incremented.
They're incrementing in units of 2, so there's 3 on the x-axis. There's a negative 1 on the y-axis.
How did he know they were incrementing by units of 2?
Because of that 10 there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
But I'm thinking it's answer A. Problem 3. Oh, this one looks hard.
X equals negative 3. Pull down.
Okay. What does it say to do on it? Graph it?
Just graph it.
Okay, just graph it.
Well, so we know that there should be nothing crossing the x-axis. It's only going to be crossing the y. And because it's negative, it has to be below.
Oh, I'm thinking you're...
Let's look back.
Actually, wait, no, it's the other way around.
Okay. Remember the letter that appears. That's saying that's the thing that's going to pass through. It's going to pass through the x-axis.
So it's
at that
passing through the x-axis.
So we can just already X out 2 of the answers. And because it's negative, it's going to be on the left side.
Locate negative 3 on the x-axis. What sort of line would cut through that? Vertical or horizontal? I love vertical. So do y'all see why we're saying this is a vertical line passing through -3 on the x-axis? A horizontal line wouldn't pass through -3 on the x-axis. A horizontal line passes through the y-axis.
Why does this equation describe this line? Think about some ordered pairs. What are the ordered? Give me the ordered pair representation for that point that I just labeled. -3, 1. Okay. What about this one right here? What would be the ordered pair representation for that point?
-3.
So what are we seeing? I think we're seeing a pattern. Every x value, every x is -3. This line contains every point that starts with an x value of -3. Any questions there? It should be clear why that equation describes that vertical line.
Which one was it? A, B, C, or D?
I have to say, at first I was a little disappointed when I saw these with multiple choice, but
I like them.
Yeah, it's quicker at least. Is it D? Let's pop it out and see. Y'all tell me.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, so
One,
D.
two.
Okay, let's move on to number 4. Oh, wait. We're on number 4. Y plus 5 equals 0.
If we already know, kind of like, this has to do with like those types of equations that we did before. Since y equals to 0, we could just -5 from both sides to have the y by itself.
Yes.
Y equals -5.
Get it in that form, Y equals.
And because it's a y, it passes through the y-axis. And
Alright.
when it's negative, it has to go on the bottom.
Okay.
That's a horizontal line.
Exactly. Okay. Very good. It's passing through -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's -5 on the y-axis. And if you just look at the mark, is that mark vertical or horizontal? Yeah, horizontal. So if you were going to describe the line, it's a horizontal line passing through -5 on the y-axis. If we wrote out ordered pairs, every ordered pair would have a -5 as its y value. Okay?
Back when we used to teach the developmental math, I remember Tony would tell us, class, get the variable by itself, the number on the other side. This says go to the x-axis and extend the mark at -3. Think about the little tick marks we make. Aren't they up and down? And here, go to the y-axis, extend the mark at -5. At -5, it's a little horizontal line. So, I better check the correct response. Let's see, which one was it? A? Is it A? Let's see, pop it out. Is that it? I think
I can't see it. I didn't see the blue line.
it's right down here.
Okay.
Any questions there? Okay, let's see. Slopes of lines.
Okay. Flip it over to
I'll take
some terminology. Maybe you should use this.
No, you'll just mess it
Just
up.
talk loud.
Don't say anything and they can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me over there? Okay. They can't?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just
Nine.
saying.
They have good ears. I swear.
The slope of a line measures the amount of slant in a line. It measures the slant of a line.
I say steepness.
If a line is rising from left to right, the slope is a positive number.
Lowercase m to know
Oh.
slope.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. It's standard notation, and I remember people algebra teachers telling me once that M is used to represent the slope of the line, M for measure, because the slope is a measure. That's really not the case.
But it's a good experience.
It's a good reason. It's marginals. An application in business for slopes and lines are marginals, and that M is used just sort of paying respect to an economics application of slopes. If the line is falling from left to right, we expect the slope to be negative. If we're looking at a vertical line, we're going to see that the slope is not a number. The slope can't be measured. The slope is undefined, and we'll see why in a moment.
It has something to do with the other undefines that we discussed this semester.
And a horizontal line has a slope equal to 0. Generally, the slope is telling us how is the y value changing when the x value is changed by 1 unit. As the y value changes, as the x value changes, how is the y value changing? Well, if you're looking at a vertical line, does it make sense to ask yourself, as the x values change, how is the y value changing? On a vertical line, will those x values change? No. So that's one of the reasons of why a vertical line slope is just undefined. We say an intuitive definition of slope. We'll look at the algebraic definition in a moment. But an intuitive definition, the slope, which is denoted with the lowercase letter m like money, is rise over run. Rise is the change in the y values. That's the vertical distance. The run is the change in the horizontal values. So let's look at number 5. They give us a graph and they ask us to find the slope of the line. I'm going to use that notion of rise over run. So this is number 5. I'm not going to graph it. I'm just going to write m equals rise over run. Switch over so they can see what I'm writing. Okay, we said that the slope is given by rise over run. What does that mean graphically? For some reason, I always like to start at the lowest point, and they've identified 2 ordered pairs on this line. It looks like that's the point 1, 0. What point is this one here? 0, 5, if we're thinking of ordered pairs. I start at the lowest line, okay?
Lowest point.
The lowest point. Notice, to get to the second point, to get to the upper point, I would have to go up 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm moving up, that's in the positive direction, 5 units. So I would say that my rise is a positive 5. So we're positioned right here. We counted up 5. The run is the horizontal movement. Am I going to have to move in the positive direction or the negative direction to get to that actual point?
Positive, and then going down.
No. I'm positioned right there where my mouse is. Do y'all see my mouse?
Yeah.
Am I going to move in the positive direction or in the negative direction to get to that secondary point? I'm going to move in the negative direction. I'm moving to the left. How many units will I move to get to that actual second point? 1. Okay, switch.
So you're moving up 5, left 1. The positive here indicates up. The negative here indicates down. I mean left. Okay? You're moving either up or down on the top number, left or right on the bottom. So
5 divided by -1 gives me a slope of -5. That means when the x values change by 1 unit, the y values will fall by 5 units.
Type that in.
Oh, and notice something. Switch over here. Something I said.
Oh, yeah.
Remember I said if the slope is a negative number, you expect the line to be falling from left to right. Look at that line that we just saw.
It's falling.
Isn't that falling from left to right? So, typing in -5.
If it had been a vertical line, you would have chosen the option B, undefined.
You know, I think I'm going to make up another example before we look at the formula, okay? Okay, let's see. Find the slope if it exists. It's a vertical line passing through the number 2 on the x-axis. And I'm going to identify a couple of points here, okay? There's the point, that would be 2, 3. Here's the point, 2, 1. Let's use the concept of rise over run. Let's see what happens. Let's start at this bottom point. I don't know, you could start at the top and work your way down to the lower point. I always start at the bottom and work my way up. So starting here, what would the rise be? Am I going to be going in the positive direction or the negative direction to get to the second point? Positive direction, 1, 2. So that rise is a positive 2. So we went up 2 units. How many units do we have to go left, right to actually get to that second point? 0. Think back, this was an important thing. A number divided by 0. What did we say when we were solving rational equations? What did we say about denominators of 0? Undefined. It's not a number. So we just now showed that the slope of a vertical line doesn't exist. It would be undefined.
If this had been a horizontal line, it would have been the other way around with the 0 on top.
And remember,
and a number on the bottom.
0 divided by k, that's okay. So,
but
a horizontal line, using rise over run, the slope would be 0 divided by a non-zero constant k, which is 0.
Now, but we need something other than just rise over run. In math, we always want a formula. So, here is something called the slope formula. If you have 2 ordered pairs, so if you're given 2 ordered pairs are denoted x, y, but I can't just write x, y, and x, y. We got to somehow denote which one is which.
I denoted them the same way with the distance and midpoint
Oh,
formula.
yeah, okay. I don't need to discuss that.
I think
Subscript. Oops, 2. Ooh, wee. First x, first y. That's a y1 there. Second x, second y. Okay, so y'all did see that with the distance and midpoint formula. The slope formula, a way to calculate rise over run rather than graphing and counting, is like this. Second y minus first y over second x minus first x. So someone said, what's the slope formula? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Second y minus first y over second x minus first x.
And if you think about it, isn't that how we got the rise? That was what? That y value was 3 here. 3 minus 1, that gave us that rise of 2. Well, the run was 0, it was 2 minus 2, so a 0, but still.
Now, let's go ahead and do problem 6 now. Oh, you're going to do it? I'm going to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me write it down. We're given 2 ordered pairs. What are those 2 ordered pairs? 6, 4, and 10, 5. I like to go ahead and label them. First x, first y, second x, second y.
I did that with the distance and midpoint.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and write down the slope formula. Oh, Tim. Oh no. Sorry, this. So, I wrote down the 2 ordered pairs. Oh, what is wrong with me? I put a y2 here. A y1. First x, first y, second x, second y. And the formula's right here, so I guess I won't bother rewriting it. Second y, I'm going to replace that with a 5.
And y1 is a
4.
So that's just 1.
1 on top. What about on the bottom?
It's 10 minus 6, so it's 4.
So we have a 1 on top and a 4 on the bottom.
4.
So 1, 4. So if you move from over one x value, the y value is going up by just 1/4. So it's not very steep.
Is the line rising from left to right or falling from left to right? Without graphing it. You know, the slope is 1/4.
Which is positive.
So it's left, right.
It's rising when you look from left to right. Okay. See, if it's rising, if the slope is positive, the graph is rising. If the slope is negative, it's falling. And let me go ahead and check this one. Okay, here's another slope formula problem. You want to do it, Tim, or do I?
Oh, I'll do it. Okay. My microphone still isn't working. Let's see. Find the slope of the line passing through the points 9, 0 and 10, 8. Now, one option, you could always just plot these points and count rise over run. That seems very cumbersome to me. So.
Especially if the ordered pair had been 90, 54 and 1,000, 80. You wouldn't want to start counting rise over run. That's what the formula does. So you don't have to count y's overrun if there's big numbers.
So we identify x1, y1, x2, y2.
So it's 8 minus 0 over 10 minus 9, so it will equal 8 over 1.
Okay, so it's y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Let's see if Jacob is right. Here. Okay, so he's right about the top. What about the bottom? X2. Agree. Oh, this is working out really nice. 8 minus 0 is 8. All over 1, which reduces to, yes, final answer of 8.
Did we see 8 over 1 will work too?
Oh, let's
if
see.
this type of simplified fraction, I would think it would say.
No.
Okay, so it does not. Because what's, 8 over 1 is certainly not simplified.
And when you're doing the review, keep in mind, how do they want those answers? Because that's how they're going to want them on the test and quizzes, okay? That's one of the points of that review, so you can get familiar with, here's how they want the answer typed.
Oh.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't hurt to test because there have been times where you guys were like, oh, it won't accept this answer, but we try to answer that.
It does. Uh-huh. Problem number 8. Did you write it down?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm glad that there's finally one with some negatives in it, because you got to be careful when there's negative numbers. Y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1.
Well, we had negative numbers with those subtractions in the distance formula, so
okay.
they handled it okay.
It becomes y
Oh,
minus
I'm doing the
5
same.
over negative 5 minus 0. So it will be negative 4 over 5.
So we have y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1.
But it will
And,
be negative 4.
okay, y2 is
1 minus 5.
okay, y1 is 5, x2,
0 minus negative 5 or plus
okay,
0 plus 5.
You'll see that minus and negative. The minus here is from the formula, and then this minus is from the x1. Is that a green? I can't really tell that that's a green negative 5, but it is. Okay.
It's negative 4.
negative 4 all over
5.
0 minus a negative 5 becomes a positive 5 for negative 4/5.
Negative 4. Oh. Okay. Oh, do you want to define slope-intercept form?
Oh. Okay, then flip it over. Slope-intercept form. If you take the equation of a line and isolate the y, if it has an x and a y and you isolate the y, then the number on front of x, the coefficient of x, notice I denoted it m because that's the slope, and this number here is a coordinate of the y-intercept. It's not the actual y-intercept. The y-intercept is a ordered pair. So, the form 0, comma, oops, that's an error, b.
Okay. So looking at number 9, y equals -3/4 x plus 9. It asks, find the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Well, if the y is by itself, the slope is that coefficient attached in front of x. So on this one, the slope is -4.
No, it isn't.
Excuse me, -3/4. There's the slope. The y-intercept is an ordered pair, 0, 9. It's passing through 9 on the y-axis, so there's the x value would be 0. So it's asking you, what's the slope? -3/4. That means the line is falling. What's the y-intercept? Where is it crossing the y-axis? At the point 0, 9. We want to punch that in. The slope is -3/4. And, oh, look at that. They are so nice. Look at that. They already have the 0 typed for you. What do I put in this blue box? 9. That's right. If your equation ax plus by equals c is solved for y, the number in front of x is the slope of the line, and that number right there, that constant, tells you where the graph passes through the y-axis. Any questions there? Oh, if that's the case, then I think y'all can tell me this answer, and Tony doesn't have to write anything down.
2/5.
Okay, that number in front of x. Notice the equation solved for y. So the number in front of x, that's the slope, 2/5. So is the line rising or falling? Rising, okay.
And then 7 is the Y-intercept.
Oh,
7.
no. They're not being nice this time. On number 9, remember they gave you the, oh yes, yes. On number 9, they just gave you that 0, comma. Here you gotta type a 7 and see what happens. You just put in a 7, they're gonna count it wrong. And I was sure but it says your answer must be in the form of an ordered pair. Okay, so.
It says to have enclosed parentheses.
Where does it say how to, they say that? I thought you were saying on the point.
So there you gotta write it as an ordered pair. Oh, yeah. This is developmental material, so if it seems easier, that means you've seen it somewhere before, okay? If that's easier than cut points?
Oh, yeah.
That better be easier than cut points. What about square root equations?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be. Okay. Here, you.
Whether it's easier or not, subjective.
Here, just give me that thing and put it up. I've already did it with mine. Well, let me see. He's going to fiddle with mine some more. I tell you. A student showed Tony all this stuff to do to get it to work. He knew exactly what was wrong, and he got it to work, and it worked perfectly all through class yesterday, but
Not today.
yeah. Number 11. Find the slope and y-intercept of the line whose equation is given by 9x plus y equals 2.
Isn't the slope, wouldn't the slope be like 9, 0?
There's a different step. There's an extra step on this problem. In order to look at the equation and know the slope, remember, the equation has to be solved for y.
So
When y is by itself on one side, the number in front of x on the other side is the slope.
So we minus y on both sides.
No.
No. Okay, look at the problem. So it's 9x plus y, right? So you minus the 9x.
That's what I would do.
And then you add 2, so y equals 9x for negative 9 for the slope and 0, 2 for the y-intercept.
Oh,
So-
Jessica, you are on a ball today. You're on a
So
roll.
this is this even working? I don't even think this thing's working now.
Oh.
Well, I think I'm just bad luck. What messes up speakers?
Oh,
Magnetic
microphone.
fields? I mean
I don't know.
microphones.
I don't know because this
Your
one's
cell
not
phone
working.
could be causing it.
Oh, wow.
Maybe putting them too close together.
It's like a
That might be it,
signal
you're right.
interference, too.
I don't
But
need
when
his.
you
I
have
think-
those together at the beginning of the semester,
No,
it's
this
fine.
one stopped working too. Oh, well.
If the equation is not solved for y, you have to solve for y. The easiest way to get y by itself is to subtract 9x from both sides. Oh, tiny tail.
So the slope will be negative 9.
So the slope is negative 9.
So it will be negative 9 comma 0.
No, the slope is not an ordered pair. The slope is a number, negative 9. The y-intercept is the ordered pair, 0, comma 2. Any questions there? If your equation is not solved for y, you need to solve for y, and then the number in front of x is the slope. That number there is the y-coordinate of the
Oh,
y-intercept.
wait, I turned it too soon. Okay. So slope negative 9, 0, comma 2. Let's see if I can type that in. The slope negative 9. Oops. Once again, we got to type an ordered pair over 0 up to. No, that's. Any questions? Uh-huh. No, it didn't take the negative 8 over 1, so I'm assuming it wouldn't.
Or it was positive 8
a positive
over 1,
8
and
over
it
1.
didn't.
I don't think if you. It's the way it says simplify. Wasn't the one where we put in over 1 and it didn't take it? Let me see.
Yeah, it was the 8.
Oh, wow. Right here, I think we put 8 over 1 and it didn't take it. Okay? Because they want a simplified fraction. And if it's a simplified fraction, there shouldn't be a. If you can write it as just a whole number, then they want it like that.
As a general rule, simplify your fractions. Don't take a chance that you don't simplify it and they count it wrong. Okay? I'm thinking about on a test. Here in your homework, you just, it's wrong, so you put in the correct answer. But that doesn't happen on a test.
This looks like it will be 5.
Oh, let's see.
Minus 25x on both sides, so it's 5y.
Okay, let me write it down. 25x plus. Same instructions. Find the slope and the y-intercept. Do you want to do this one, Tony?
Oh,
Okay.
you haven't messed up, so I think go ahead.
Okay. This one,
Minus 25x on both sides, so it's 5y equals negative 25x plus 15.
you need the y value by itself, so the sensible thing to do is to move that 25x over to the right. That's going to give you a positive y, 5y equals a negative 25x plus 15.
And then you divide by 5.
So
Right through.
Notice how I'm dividing by 5. It's the same thing as distributing a 1/5. You divide through each term by 5. Over 5, over 5, and over 5. The 5's cancel. So we have y equals, this is working out nicer than I thought it was going to. Negative 25 divided by 5 gives me
5x.
negative 5x.
Plus 3.
15 divided by 5 gives me a positive 3.
So your slope is negative 5 and your y-intercept is 0, 3.
Okay, I agree. The slope is negative 5. The y-intercept, it's 0, comma, positive 3. Any questions there?
Gotta isolate that y first. Slope is, I forgot, what was it, negative 5?
Mm-hmm.
And type an ordered pair. I guess so for the first one, I found one where they already had the 0, comma.
Maybe it's just like a different person writing the question.
Oh, it is. These book problems are coming from dozens of different books. We choose everyone with a specific reason, some logic behind it.
We get it, and it's like the exact opposite. The first one doesn't have the 0 already filled out, but the rest do.
Well, I think the reason the first one had a 0 was just to make sure it was trying to be nice that first time, reminding you it's an ordered pair, so you better write it as an ordered pair. But now after that, they expect you to remember that and type those intercepts as ordered pairs.
Now, number 13. Now we're trying to, for the last 3 problems, we're going to write equations of life.
They were giving us equations. Now we got to write the equation ourselves.
See, they were giving us the equations. Now, up until this point, you haven't had to write the equation. But now we're going to. You see, they gave you the equation. In algebra, you always do it one way, then do it in reverse. Okay? Like on number 10, they gave you the equation. You found the slope y-intercept. Starting with number 13, they're giving you the slope. They want you to write the equation. So let me write it down. I'm doing this one. 13. The slope is 9.
We can't see you writing this.
Oh, it's just writing the problem down right now. And it passes through the point 2, 1. Slope is 9, 2, 1. Oh, and they say to write your answer in slope-intercept form. So our final answer is going to be y equals that equation.
It'll be 9 plus something.
Well, slope-intercept form is in the form y equals mx plus b.
So it would be 9 parentheses 2.
Okay, you're getting ahead. You put a 9 in place of the x, because we're told that slope is 9. And then right here, this point that they're giving us, that's not the y-intercept. The y-intercept would have to have a 0 in it. What this is an x and y. So we need to figure out this y-intercept b. How do we do that? Well, you plug the 1 in for y and the 2 in for x. So I'm plugging a 1 in for y and a 2 for x.
So first we multiply the 9 and 2 to get 18, and then
Okay.
minus 2.
So we have 1 equals 18 plus b. We've got to figure out b so that we can write the equation
And minus 18 on both sides.
to
So
solve
it
for
will be-
b.
It will be negative 17 equals b.
Okay, subtract 18 from both sides to solve for b, and we get b equals negative 17. What your final answer is going to be an equation. Y equals 9x,
Minus 17.
and in place of the plus b, we'll put minus 17. So here's your slope.
And your y-intercept would be the point 0, comma, negative 17. So here's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. We come over here, we type in y equals, is already there, 9x minus 17. Any questions there? Next one, a little bit messier, but the same type of problem. What makes it messier?
It's a fraction.
Yeah, that slope is a fraction. Okay.
So the y is negative a.
Okay, so right in the equation. M equals 3 over 4, passing through the point 6, comma, negative 8. Well, we want to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. You know what? I'm going to show for demonstration purposes. We know how to get started. Right now we can write mx, 3 over 4 x. But we need that b, the other number that's there. So let's see, how is he going to find that b?
He's going to put on the negative 8 for the y. So negative 8 equals 3 over 4 times 6 plus b.
Okay, this point is on the line. That means it has to satisfy the equation. So the x value at this point is 6. The y value is negative 8. So we're going to plug in negative 8 for y. So we have negative 8 equals, we have 3/4 times x, x is 6, plus b. And I would multiply the 3/4 times the 6. I'd have negative 8 equals.
Negative 8 equals, and you're only multiplying it to the 3, so it's 18 over 4.
Or you could cross cancel and cancel out a 2. 6 and 4 both have common factors of 2. You could go 4 divided by 4 is 2. 6 divided by 4 is 3. And I think that'll give you a reduced fraction, won't it? 3 times 3 is 9, all over. 2 times 1 is 2, plus b. And I'd get rid of the fraction. I could have gotten rid of the fraction up here, multiplying through by that 4. That probably would have been cleaner. What could I multiply every term by here to get rid of that denominator? 2. Remember how you can multiply both sides by whatever the denominator is to cancel out that fraction. So I'd multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. So we have negative 16 is equal to
Negative, or
9 plus 2b.
Or not 2b. We minus 9 on both sides.
We're trying to get the b by itself, so I'd minus the 9.
So
I'm pushing it up. Hold on.
5 equals 2b.
Right there. Okay. So minus 9 minus 9. That becomes negative 25 is equal to 2b. Divide by 2, and I think we've got our b value. B is equal to negative 25 halves. So in place of that b, we already know y equals 3/4 x.
But instead of a plus b, we have a minus 25 over 2. Any questions there? You could have worked with the fractions rather than multiplying 3 by 2. You could have said, oh, I'm going to subtract 9 halves from both sides, rewrite negative 8 as negative 16 over 2 minus 9 over 2. That would have given you the negative 25 over 2 also.
Or you could use a calculator like this, negative 8 minus 9 over 2. And if on this calculator, if you wanted a fraction rather than a decimal, you say math, and that first thing is convert to fraction, so I'll just say enter, negative 25 over 2. So it's however you want to figure out that number. So I need to come back over here. Remember, I've already written the 3/4 x, so now I type minus 25 over 2. So you know how to write the equation if you have the slope and a point. Okay. And let me see, was it number 6? Number 6, we saw how to find the slope if you have 2 points. It's that little formula. Where was it, Tim? Oh, right there. Oh, let me. Okay. Why are we mentioning this? Well, if we look at the last problem, it's the last one, so it has to be the hardest, right? I'll let you do it. So number 15, find an equation. So it's very much like the ones we've just done. The ordered pair is 3. Oh, well, we're just given 2 ordered pairs rather than an ordered pair in the slope. Keep in mind, we know how to do the problem if we have the slope and 1 ordered pair. I claim there's 1 extra step here. What are we going to have to do to make this problem more like problem 14?
We need to do the rise over run for the slope.
Yeah, since it's just given as ordered pairs, I'm going to do the formula. Okay? So in problem 15, we first have to find that slope. There's number 15. So I'm first finding the slope. Hopefully it's clear to you why I'm finding the slope. First x, first y, second x, second y. Slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's see, talk me through it. What am I going to write here? It's going to be y2 is 5, then minus y1, x2 minus x1. So the 5 minus 2 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. What are we getting for this slope? It got quiet in here all of a sudden. 1/2? Now it's very much like problem 14. Here's the slope. Well, we have 2 points. All we need is 1 ordered pair. So I generally choose I choose to work with the ordered pair that looks like it has the smallest numbers. So we now have the slope, and I'm choosing to work with the first ordered pair.
You could work with the second order pair, you'll still get the same equation.
Exactly. But isn't this exactly what number 14 looked like? You had a slope and a ordered pair. A slope and an ordered pair. Same thing on number 13. Slope and ordered pair. So the most basic problem-solving strategy. If you know how to do one problem when confronted with a new type, make it look like what you know how to do. So we'll write. Now we'll start doing exactly what we did on problems 13 and 14. Y equals mx plus b.
So it's going to be 2 equals half times 3 plus b.
Did y'all hear that? You plug the 3 in for x and the 2 for y. So we have 2 equals 1/2 times 3 plus b. Thinking of that 3 is 3 over 1.
So it's 2 equals 3/2 plus b.
And if you want to multiply through by this bottom 2 to get rid of the fraction, or if you just want to do this, to get the b by itself, subtract the 3 over 2. Kim, you want to pull up that calculator?
Well, remind him how to do it by hand first.
Okay. If you want to think of that 2 as, well, I guess you could think of the 3/2 as 1 1/2. I think all of y'all know 2 minus 1 1/2 is just a half. If you want to write it as 2 over 1 minus 3 over 2 and get a common denominator of 2, what would this top number be right here? 4. So rewriting 2 over 1 is 4 over 2 minus 3 over 2. Oh, b is a half. Oh, wow, I think that both the m and the b turn out to be a half.
I think that's just a coincidence.
Yeah, that's just a coincidence.
It's magic.
1/2 x plus b. Any questions on this, how I got that 1/2 for b?
Or you could have just gone 2 minus 3 over 2.
No, math.
Oh, that's math. That's right. Undo that. Math. Enter.
Not that you need 0.5. I think most people know 0.5 is a half. Okay? So,
Switching over to my lab and punching in the answer, we have y equals, it's a 1/2, get out of the denominator before you type your x, plus 1/2.
now, give me this. Before y'all start leaving real quickly, let's review, go back over something we said at the beginning of class. No class Thursday in 2 days. That's your individual study day. Use that day to work on the reviews. There's a review for a quiz and a review for a test. Some of you have already taken the quizzes or tests, but still got 2 days to work on that. Also, everyone should have gotten I passed out those sheets of paper. Who didn't get one of these? It's just sort of a guide to what's on those reviews.